Hello and welcome to the APTA Grand Prix Series. We are live from the Camargo Country Club at the 2016 Midwesterns on the APTA Network presented by eNet Live. I'm Jerry Vion along with Mark Fischel, and it's time for the men's final. Mark, tell us who we'll be watching in this match.
Jerry, we got a terrific match between Drew Broderick and Steve Derose. Drew is the Director of Racket Sports at the Camargo Country Club in Summit, New Jersey. Steve is the Director of Racket Sports at the Springbrook Country Club in Morristown, New Jersey. Drew is currently #1 in the country, defending national champion, just a great player. They're going to be playing against Max Pivert, the Director of Racket Sports at the Espetuck Valley Country Club, and Juan Arraya, Director of Racket Sports at the Greenwich Country Club. Juan and Max are two of the most talented players in the country, and they start the match by hitting Drew on back-to-back shots.
Yeah.
How often will you see that?
Not often. So
really
what
excited.
Do you think? Yeah, what do you think that Max and Juan have to do here?
I want to see if Juan is willing to grind with Drew. Because Juan has been playing some great paddle this weekend. Not all the way back, but playing awfully well. Great playing from Steve Derose. I mean, Juan is one of the most talented players I've ever seen. He's got a vast array of shots. So the big question is he willing to grind, or is he going to lose his patience? Because you know Drew's going to make him grind. Now there's an interesting switch at the net. Juan normally plays the backhand at the net with his forehand in the middle that hits the majority of the overheads. Today they're going to have Max over there with his real soft rolling overhead.
Well, I've never seen Steve play the deuce side, so I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of weapons are going to come out of that corner. And you've got 4 quick, very athletic players. So we're going to see a lot of shot making. Should be a fun match.
Drew came up lame a little bit towards the end of his match with Sebi and Martin and didn't move back to that ball particularly well, so I think it's something we ought to keep an eye on. You know, Max has just had a terrific year. He and Jeff Morneau almost won Long Island, lost a tough 3-setter to Marco Grangero, and George Wilkinson has really established himself as one of the top players in the game. Quick, explosive, a lot of power, and one of the best volleyers.
And smooth.
Loves to blitz, as you saw there.
Smooth as silk.
And one of the big issues with Juan has been his willingness to trust his partners.
You're going to see a lot of dinks, a lot of spin, a lot of shot making.
There was a slightly impatient shot from Juan. That's what I want to see, whether he's willing to grind. Coming out firing. See if Juan switches the net and puts Max in the middle again.
This is the first real cold day that these guys have played. They've all made the adjustment as far as the temperature with the ball. It's not as lively. They can put a lot more spin on the ball.
And you can see the pace of the play is much faster than it was in the semifinals with the Swedes. They're really pushing things. Max and Juan have a lot of weapons and will make you play faster. And that's going to be the battle of tempo. As it always is when Drew Broderick's on the court.
Now Drew's a lefty. He's on the right there. They're going to keep their forehands in the middle at net.
Great lob from Max.
Great lob because he pulled Steve way out of the service box, and that's the purpose of the lobs. Create movement so you can get opportunities to attack.
Max is a rare combination of speed, power, and feel. As he misses that ball.
Yeah, but that overhead spin from Drew, that really took a bite on the back panel side screen and dropped like a rock.
Go! Good call. Broderick Derose lead 1-0.
Good hold from Steve. But that's the tempo that Juan and Max want to play. And win that game, but good pace, good tempo for him. So Juan Arraya to serve. In addition to everything else he does well, Juan's got one of the best serves in the country.
Steve likes to take that ball early off the deck.
And Jerry, we got a good look there at Max's overhead. Why don't you talk a little bit about that shot?
Max, the pocket overhead,
pocket
he wants
overhead.
to be called, not the French
I like the
overhead.
French-Brazilian overhead. Oh, there's the unbelievable slash from Juan, almost from the service line he hit that one. That's a shot no one else in the game really has.
And he can hit it consistently.
And then he's got that shot. So there you see Juan's ability to speed up the tempo of play, something very few people have that.
Well, Steve's got to make a decision what to do with that short ball when he's chasing, because it's a setup play. Juan wants him to come in and drive, and then they'll volley it behind them. So you really got to make a decision. Maybe it's better to come up and flick a couple up and just get off the court.
Steve and Drew have come out very aggressive, and there's the switch with Max in the middle of the net.
All right, so we'll look at Max's preparation on the overhead, where he sets his paddle. It's no higher than his right earlobe when he lets that ball drop. That's it. That gives Steve more time to get back in position. By hitting the lob instead of just going for the drive off the short ball. All four players have razor-like skills. They find any little hole on the court to get their opponent to reach for a volley. Bunch of overheads down the middle.
30-15, second game. Broderick Derose won the opening game. Missed volley from Juan, 30-all.
A little too much movement.
I formation or the Vion formation.
So panel slam.
I'm also eager to see if Juan goes away from the strategy of Max being in the middle if they lose a couple early points doing it.
What do you mean right now, where one's on the left?
Yep. They've switched a couple times, so Max has had his overheads in the middle.
Yeah.
And they lost that last point. Juan wanted to slash that ball. Guest appearance from Max on the backhand overhead. Ball called out by Juan, reversed by the umpire, 30-40.
And again, that's Drew can find those openings, and he's willing to work the point and work the point till he gets that shot. And Steve and Drew have played a fair bit together, right?
Yep.
A couple of years ago, I think they played 3 tournaments. Won 3 tournaments.
Bad overhead for Max there.
Down up. And Steve is so quick, he takes those down up balls on the rise anyway.
Invariably, you're changing sides when you do that, and you got to make a tough volley on the move. Wild forehand from Max.
Just a little impatient on that one.
Out. Me. You. You gotta hit it.
Great combination. Max hit the little chip, brought him in, and Juan hit the lob over his right shoulder.
Hey. Yep. Hey. 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 You.
Cat and mouse of who's going to hit the ball too fast, too hard, too soon. They're all just baiting each other right now.
There's just snow on the court right now from Max's collision with the wires there.
Nice touch.
Great get by Juan off the seam, but Drew responds with a great drop shot. Read by Juan, 30 all.
That's one making it happen.
Accelerating the pace of play.
Nice one. Good hand.
Again, great blitz, big forehand from Max. And you can see where they're not willing to let Drew control tempo. Another leg point. Boy, that is a loose net, isn't it, Jerry?
Yeah. We saw a lot of lets yesterday.
Me. You.
Watch how the players, all these four players, set their paddle so early before the ball hits the court. Their paddle is set. If they're going to play a screen, it's set low with an open face. And they can always change the angle if they decide to drive it.
A little early frustration from Juan. Back to deuce. You're going to have to work with Drew. He's got to know that that's called the V-on formation, not the Aussie. We'll get him more calling that right the next tournament, Jerry. Don't worry about it.
Actually, I want to give a shout out to Drew's niece. Marissa is having a live streaming paddle party. Sure enjoying the play.
Great. Good ball by Max in the middle there. Little paddle clash between Max and Juan. Not altogether dissimilar from their poker clash.
It's a right shot. He just needed to move forward.
Advantage Broderick. So that's too fast. Great playing by Drew. 3 competitive games, all won by Broderick and Derose.
They're all so quick that the cat and mouse, unless they get that ball to drop down low below the level of the net, is going to be a punishing volley like we just saw. A very deliberate volley from Drew.
Especially against Drew, who plays right on top of the net. You can get away with it a little more against Steve Derose, who plays off the net. Drew is just right on it.
Well, he actually got cut right in front of Steve to make sure that that ball didn't drop down because he's looking for that shot. There's that little half volley lob that Steve does, and it takes away time from the net player. So if you haven't got yourself in position, you're going to be chasing the next ball. how quickly he takes that off the deck. It's called a block lob and a
Great
spike.
play.
And that's the risk you take when you hit a down-up overhead.
Juan is on the wrong side right now of that patient, aggressive nature. Trying to speed up play. Maybe a little too much the last 2 games.
Resets his paddle. He thought he was going to take it off the deck, and then he gets the net team to close, thinking he's going to drive it, and then he lets it go into the screen and flips up a quick lob. Just trying to wrong foot your opponent so that they have to chase a ball. Is that quick shot off the deck from Steve?
But they're playing with fire with that waterfall over against Steve Derose. See, Max really doesn't have that shot. I think that's pushing it too much. Love 30. And those types of mistakes from Max are going to get Juan out of his comfort zone. They haven't switched the last couple of points. Put Max in the middle.
Look at the combinations of lobs that Drew and Steve are willing to hit before they take a swing. Nice hands by Max.
Keep getting them.
2 consecutive overhead errors from Max trying to spin the ball. Love 40.
Yeah, I got it.
Steve missed the lob long.
It's tough to hit a lob volley. So Steve just really takes away so much time from the net players by that early bounce hit lob.
Missed that one long, 30-40.
Again, I mean, you have to make that decision. What are you going to do with that ball? It's got a lot of spin ones. Backhand drop shot.
One's let cord does not come over. 4 love, Broderick Derose. Great shot from Juan there. Juan is firing on that forehand. They've been in every game, unable to finish him out.
And he ripped some big ones in the semis.
Lack of conviction from Max on that swing. Wasn't a bad decision. He wasn't really committed to it. .1540 double break point.
That ball, is almost bowled. So it does affect how it feels on the paddle. also affects sometimes how, the flight of the ball. So they're really going to be holding on to it for as long as they can to keep control of it. Wow.
Great shot from Drew. Bad lob from Juan. A couple of them. 30-40. But they really need this game to get back in the set.
That was a great slash drop by Drew.
You help.
Another big forehand from Juan. And Derose misses the lob, and they're on the board at 1-4. It's interesting so far, Jerry. Obviously, Broderick, Derose have had a better play, being up 4-1, but I think the tempo belongs to Max and Juan right now. What are your thoughts on that?
That last game, yes. The noise you're hearing there, hitting the snow off the screens. Sometimes it does affect the ball, especially if there's ice on the screens. The ball will slide instead of bite.
Dave O was saying in the semis that he would not have left the snow on there. It would have bothered him.
I would have taken it off too if I was playing, because it'll slide. You don't get a true bounce on it.
Okay, Arraya serve at 1-4. Max's hat is off, and you get to see that wild French hair. Big volley there.
Volley.
15-love. Ron responds with an ace. Playing I formation at the net.
He love.
Oh, what a get by Derose. Oh, that was beautiful play, wasn't it?
Nice speed and control.
40-love.
Kept it deep, made it die. This is where the body language.
Okay, there's the switch at the net, putting Max in the middle. And I think there are two reasons for this, Jerry. One is that Juan's spin overhead is really ineffective against Drew with the forehand over there. Great cut by Max. And the other is that Juan's overhead to the deuce side is better than Max's. So I think it's a good example of Juan trusting his partner, which is something he's had issues with in the past.
And also showing that there's not just one way to play. You're working this out with your partnership, and you're setting out your partners and your own strengths. And different combinations match up against different teams.
And again, tempo belongs to Pivert and Arraya right now. We've played a game and a half in about 2 minutes. Great play from Max.
Very smooth swing.
Boy, his combination of power and finesse is really impressive, isn't it, Jerry?
Yes. Just needs to stay confident.
There we go. 3 games on the trot for Arraya and Pivert. We're back on serve. 3-4.
Such a large part of the game at this high level is the mental part. Working together as a team. Staying together. Just see a little hand slap there between Drew and Steve. I mean, that's so important that you stay confident and comfortable and communicate with your partner. That's what pulls you through those close matches.
Well said, partner.
You. I got it.
So they send up those short, quick lobs in the hope that they will bait their opponents to snap an overhead quickly. Wonderful combination of shots.
Great point, great get, and then Max came up real short on a lob that he should have made.
Above 5.
Max has worked hard on that serve. It was a real weakness last year. Not so much this year.
Hey!
I think Max getting to the finals of Long Island with Jeff Morneau really helped his confidence. Feels like he belongs on the court at this level.
Questionably one of the best players in the country. I think he's clearly established that. Nothing he can't do on the court.
And in a short time, because last year he was the new kid on the block at this level.
Well, he spent a couple of years kind of learning the game at the hands of a couple of masters, Mike Gillespie and Mike Stulak. Played last year with Corey Parr, and obviously had 3 tournaments with Juan. Good enough to get them 3 in the country. Also wanted to mention that Juan's got a remarkable streak going. In this era of unparalleled depth, he has not played a backdoor match in 3 years, which means semifinals or better every time he enters a tournament. And there's Juan baiting Drew into driving the ball on Juan's terms. He's on top of the net, Drew's deep in the court, and Juan closes the net after a shot demanding a drive better than anybody.
It's a set play. It's a set play that he throws out, just like the slash drop.
15-30. Max's faults sometimes come in bunches. Let's see how he responds.
High love so that they can switch one back into the ad side.
You think Juan liked that shot, Jerry?
The thing about Juan is he has that poker face.
He does. You never really know what he's feeling or
Don't know
thinking.
what's going on.
15-40. Max
That's it.
encouraging him. 15-40.
Soft, deep overheads, not giving Drew any pace that he can use.
Jim Kaufman overhead. Oh, what a pickup from Derose.
Good try, buddy.
Yep. That's a half volley lob. Got caught inside the court on that last one though.
Makeable volley. Good return from Drew, but a makeable volley. 5-3. It's a shot you can't miss at that juncture of the match.
I just gotta question how much, when one drops his paddle like that in the middle of Max's service game where Max is struggling, how much that affects his confidence.
Again, Juan turning up the pace of play a little bit too much there. That was a tough ball to do anything with.
Great move by Max.
Juan's really
Pressure.
dialed in on Steve's serve.
Put pressure on Steve's first volley. Fabulous
play by Juan.
combination. Yeah, because again, he took it early, and he can do that because his preparation on his paddle is set.
And Max can't do that. I would call that a minor hissy fit from Juan, not a major one. 30 all. Boy, Drew again. Drew hit some unbelievable reflex volleys in the semifinals against Sebastian and Martin. Again, that's what I'm talking about when Juan gets on the wrong side of that line, playing overly aggressive. That was a backhand spike from 3 feet behind the baseline.
Right.
Do you teach that at the paddle camps?
Would have been a block love, would have been the right shot. He knows it.
So the answer is no, that's not taught at the performance paddle camps? Set point for Derose.
One's like a magician when he plays like that.
Really is.
He hesitated on that swing.
Okay, game in first set.
First
Broderick
set.
Rose, 6 games to 3.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live.
When it comes to the game of life, we're all on the same team. And success comes simply from trying. You don't have to be a celebrated athlete to celebrate being active. And you don't have to be on the field to have your own cheering section. United Healthcare.
Welcome back to the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live. We're in the men's final at the Camargo Country Club in Cincinnati on the 4th leg of the APTA Grand Prix Tour.
It's an interesting set of paddle, Jerry. I thought the tempo and the pace belonged to Arraya le Pivert, but the owner of the set is Broderick and Derose. We'll see if things continue at the right pace, and Juan and Max can kind of make a few less errors.
Drew and Steve were very solid.
There's a bad miss by Juan, and he kind of motions to Max that he was too close to him. Not what you want to hear from your partner.
This is just such a team sport. You have got to become one with your partner.
Great rip from Drew there, just catches the top of the net.
Deliberate volley. Right in the corner.
Great shot from Derose. Yeah, guest appearance by Max. We're in trouble right off the bat, 15-40.
You just need to take a moment here and slow down. I know they want to speed up, but they're making too many errors.
And there's the switch to get Max's overhead in the middle. I think that's a great sign that Juan's willing to do that. A little bit of a wild miss from Drew. 30-40, big early point. That set play you talked about earlier.
Yep. It's a purposely hit harder hit overhead, baiting the opponent to rip it, and they close and volley behind, or close and volley behind the partner.
Back to deuce. 3 drive errors from Drew in one game.
And you see the switch on the backcourt because that serve had so much spin on it.
And Juan knew it was coming out hot, so he just stayed back. Played the ball off the wires. Relatively easy shot.
There's all these tactical moves that you have to know where to be based on what shot was just hit.
Switching again at the net. Our tent, which doubles as a sail, which is starting to take off. Rick saves the day once again. Yeah, that's wide. Great play by Juan.
That ball completely dropped down the back screen.
Game point. These are the ones they've got to convert. See if they look for the switch here at the net. And Drew misses his 4th drive of the game. Jerry, that's a new record for Drew.
Yeah, it was a little high. I don't know if the ball is flying a little bit.
Well, again, tempo belongs to Juan and Max. We're not seeing any of those long grinding points we saw so much of in the semis. Lack of commitment from that shot on Max.
Good call by Drew.
Max has got to have the discipline to let that ball go.
Drew's eyes were forward the whole time, so he was able to let Steve know that Max was coming in.
Unlike Jeff Morneau. Great volley from Drew. Another fast game, 1-all. These guys are playing like they have a flight to catch. Great idea from Steve. He's either very upset or not at all. You can tell from his facial expression.
It's a risky play when one hits that short ball cross court like that. If he takes the chance and he closes over when he switches play like that, he's got his hands right up on the net. So if Steve does get it, at least he's in front of it.
Couple of faults for Max.
Point, right? Fired up.
Big rip from Drew. 540. That forehand is such a good shot. Three faults from Max.
Max is holding his finger for the last 2 games. I don't know whether he caught it in the screen or what's going on.
You just can't donate games at this level, Jerry. It's hard enough to be.
Playing and, we were playing and I was faulting.
Would have said, hang in there, partner. Don't worry about it. Keep swinging at him. There's the wrong side of that line we talked about earlier.
Don't force.
Juan was forcing it and he knows it.
You just have to be so disciplined, you know, when you've made up your mind that you're going to blitz and then you go in and they keep the ball down low, you just got to let it go through.
You.
What a beautiful swing by Juan.
Love. Right, come on. We gotta come.
There we go. There's Max encouraging Juan. Hang in there.
Oh, that ball didn't come off the wires at all. 40-15.
Just wide.
I like that play.
A lot of errors.
Broderick, Derose, 18 seconds.
Another game.
Playing too fast. Too
Yeah,
fast. Gotta
another game that
slow
was
it down.
donated.
Love, 15.
Steve finds Max's right hip. Good ball.
You.
That little quick hop lob. Help, and Steve was there and threw little flick backhand anyway.
Help.
Great patience by Steve on the wires there.
You help.
He's only missed one.
Great get from Drew. Juan misses his patented backhand slash.
Love, 30.
Water going down the drain, Jerry?
Yeah, and just the body language. It's just come on, stay in the fight.
And don't think your opponents don't see it.
It's hard to keep going forward and feel confident and when you don't have that feeling.
Rose catches the lead cord. Love 40.
You know, everything starts going the other way. They get all the breaks.
Go.
Great volley.
40.
Soft hands. I think Max is still
Shot.
attending to his left hand.
You. Coming.
With different combinations of overheads that Steve has just sent to them.
Another really bad decision by Juan. That's what I was talking about earlier, his willingness to grind. It's just not there yet. Now, in fairness, this is his first tournament in a couple of months. And finding that level of commitment to beat Drew Broderick is certainly a test of will. Four-one, second set. Good return from Max.
See, one was moving in behind that low return. It's tremendous pressure on the server coming in if they have to volley the ball up, to have someone standing there in front of them.
Now.
Juan's making a lot of errors right now. wild forehand from Max. Still looking at that left hand. Oh, what a volley from Derose. Lob volley from 3 feet behind the service line. Great play.
Switching out.
I don't know, he might be better in the forehand. This is the first time I've seen him play the forehand side. Very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
Steve Derose is very impressive wherever he's standing on the court. And it's interesting how much more patiently he plays with Drew than he does with John Lubow.
Where is John? John and Steve normally play the tournaments together.
Yeah, John chose not to come to Cincinnati, and there's some rumor of some bad blood between the two of them, and that Drew and Steve may be playing Short Hills together. I think John confirmed that.
I thought they had a contract for life.
Yeah, well, until
Nice
Steve
volley.
turns 46. Great play from Juan there. Break point to get one of the breaks back. And there it is.
All right, there's a little team chemistry.
Yeah.
One went over there and give him a little fist.
See if Max can serve a good game. Yet to hold serve.
Goes a long way when you have that camaraderie. Nice blitz move by Steve.
Yeah, one slash has been really ineffective so far today. It's cost him 7 points.
Wow.
Drew is just feasting on Max's serve right here.
Here. Hey, you. Hey. Yeah, good.
Well, Steve read that one.
Hey.
Here's the switch at the net, putting Max's overhead in the middle.
You.
Great play by Derose.
Of 40, 2-4.
Ooh, Drew was on that one. Juan looks at him.
Oh my god. Wait. Hold on. Just imagine the pain.
Juan says, I can't imagine the pain. I'm going to tell you, Juan knows pain.
Again, Steve looking to move in on that short down up overhead. Chooses to bail and just immediately turns around and chases it down off the screen.
It's a great example for our league players why they shouldn't hit that shot. So Steve almost made an offensive shot at it and still had enough time to recover and make a defensive shot. There's one, shanks an overhead. Mac loses serve for the 4th time. And Drew Broderick will serve for the tournament at 5-2 in the second set.
Second set, 5 games, 2.
I don't know if Max came over for encouragement or wipe his blood off on Juan. Might have been a combination of the two.
Well, it's fun to have one, back on tour.
Played real well all tournament, but not today, not this afternoon. That last point was another example of pushing the tempo. 15 all.
Safety 30, right, John? My bad. Yeah, thank you.
Max giving him encouragement. Come on, step in, take it early.
Big return from Juan, 15-40. It was interesting. Drew and Steve were up 5-2 in their semifinal win over the Swedes and lost serve and ended up having to hold serve at 5-4 in a tough game.
Drew was a little late, recognizing that Steve had volleyed that back.
Probably amazed that Steve had volleyed that back.
knows racket skills can handle that speed.
Juan and Max switching at the net again.
They're willing to hit those push overheads with no pace, straight back to Drew. What you're seeing is a slow ball by Max with no pace, straight to Drew, waiting to see if they can get a short ball. They're not letting Drew generate anything off of the screen. If they get a short lob, then Juan's going to come in and put some spin on it. So that's their strategy at net. That's their play.
Juan's kind of waving his hand a little bit in the middle of that point. I wonder if he did something.
Switch. Back to the plan.
Hey.
Not giving Drew any pace.
Great overhead from Juan. Sort of jumped the net there when Drew had the drive. He had a great slash and then apologizes to Steve Derose. 30 love. Slight shift in momentum, Jerry.
Matching of the tactics.
And then a fault that almost catches Derose's leg. Another miss from Drew, 40-15. I know one person is rooting hard for Max and Juan, and that's John Lubell.
Same no speed overhead, even though Drew's on the deuce side now. Max is overhead to him. It's exactly the same as when he was on the ad side. Straight, no pace, and deep. I don't know why.
So bad. Sorry.
One did not need to take that, give it down up to Steve, who's way counts.
Still 40-30, point 5-4.
Big one.
Max was all over that ball, missed it. Back to deuce. Wow, that ball was out by 3 feet. Match point.
Sorry.
Just to correct the score, it's Juan Arraya serving at 3-5 in the second set.
Oh my God, I never did that.
Too many faults from Juan. Match point number 2.
Quickly it turns because they were in this game.
And that Juan pegs Max in the butt. Game, set, and met. Broderick Derose, 6-3, 6-3.
Well played, gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Well, we have another new Grand Prix winner on our circuit. Next stop, we will be in Philadelphia for the 5th on the Grand Prix. We'd like to thank Rick, ENET guys. And Mark, you're going to interview the winners?
Yep.
All right, so we are going to be back with an interview. Drew and Steve Derose. Thanks, Mark. Fun tournament in Cincinnati.
As always, Jerry, great working with you. It's a piece of cake all weekend, right?
We braced ourselves for the weather and dressed appropriately.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in Philadelphia.
We'll see you in Philadelphia after our interview with the winners.
Yep, thanks.